The Department of Cannabis Regulation is recording this meeting by audio and visual means. By continuing with this meeting, you consent to this recording and acknowledge that the Department of Cannabis Regulation owns the recording and may use or reproduce it in any manner it deems necessary. If you do not consent to being recorded, please discontinue your participation in the meeting. Hello, and thank you all for joining us this afternoon. My name is Raina Plummer, and I am the Public Relations Specialist for the Department of Cannabis Regulation. Welcome to today's Spark session. On April 20th, 2021, DCR launched Spark, a multifaceted program that lets community members engage with DCR through a variety of methods, including virtual events such as this, comments, surveys, and informational collateral. At the end of the initiative, we will be compiling a report of every comment, survey, and feedback received. This report will provide recommendations that will help shape future cannabis policy in the city of Los Angeles. Prior to the beginning of each Spark session, we will be allowing stakeholders and members of the community to provide stakeholder comments orally. Our Spark partner, MBI Media, will be managing this effort before handing the Spark session back over to DCR. I will now provide a few quick things to remember about the stakeholder comment period. To raise your hand, use the raise hand feature, or if calling from a phone, use *9 to provide stakeholder comment. Feel free to state your name if interested. Participants have 2 minutes to speak. Participants are allowed to speak once per stakeholder comment period. This is a comment collection time and not an engagement method. Comment must be on topic at all times. Now I will pass the mic over to Pamela Smith with MBI Media to conduct our stakeholder comment period.
Good afternoon, everyone. At this time, we would like to open the floor for a comment period. Each person will have 2 minutes to make their comment. At this time, I have a person whose hand is raised with the initials ME. And we will be unmuting you, and you have 2 minutes beginning right now.
Good evening. My name is Mtume, and I am a member of the Social Equity Owners and Workers Association. And I just have a couple of questions and a statement real quick. I would like to know how many social equity stakeholders of the approximate 1,600 are Black. Then I would like to know, of the stakeholders that are Black, how many of them have marijuana arrests and or convictions? Then I would like to know why in 2019 that the DCR changed the rules to exclude those of us who were verified stakeholders without marijuana arrests and or convictions from being able to own 3 licensed cannabis retail storefronts that were guaranteed to us. Then I would like to know why there are only 4 Black verified stakeholders who have cultivation licenses, and why there are no more cultivation licenses that can be obtained by verified stakeholders. When I became a verified Tier 1 and Tier 2 social equity stakeholder under the LA DCR's rules, laws, regulations, ordinances, etc., I was guaranteed that I would be able to have 3 retail storefront cannabis licenses and cultivation licenses. In layman's terms, I was guaranteed that I will be able to grow my own marijuana and sell it. In closing, I would like for, I would like for legislation to be passed to lower excise tax for social equity businesses to 3%. Again, I say, I would like for legislation to be passed to lower excise tax for social equity businesses to 3%. Thank you very much. Again, my name is Mtume. I'm done.
Thank you for your time, sir. We appreciate your comment. At this time, if anyone else would like to make a 2-minute comment, please raise your hand, and feel free to keep your hand raised and we will call on you as each person is complete. So right now, if you'd like to make a 2-minute comment, please raise your hand and we will unmute you. If anyone would like to make a comment, don't forget to click *9 to raise your hand, followed by *6 if you're on your phone.
Thank you, Ms. Smith. While we wait for the next stakeholder comment, I'd like to give a quick reminder. On April 5th, the department changed its virtual public counter service hours to Monday through Thursday, 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. and closed on Fridays and holidays. So I wanted to make sure people know that. There are multiple ways that you can contact the department. We'll be sure to share that information in a bit.
Okay, I have a person with a raised hand with the last name Gorman. You are going to be unmuted. You will have 2 minutes and you are unmuted and you may begin speaking now.
Hi there. I just thought I'd jump in because I feel that I should have an interest in this comment period. I am not a social equity applicant, and I don't foresee myself being a social equity applicant with the rules and regulations as they are currently. I am hopeful that considerations will be made beyond the existing pool of social equity applicants. I echo the previous gentleman's comments about, wanting to, have, some stake in designing, my own plan and my own future when it comes to business ownership and what I'm able to do to capitalize on the gains of my business, whether it's cultivation, testing, retail, what have you. Part of being a successful business owner is being able to diversify and tap into those resources that would make your business more fruitful. That aside, I am interested in what is developing around these conversations, which is why I'm here. I would like to learn more and participate more in this. And I am now a vote for, what I think will help our communities thrive. And if we are able to gain a little bit more insight into what that is from these conversations, then, I'd love to be more involved in that as well. My email address is resourcestoachieve@gmail.com. If anyone wants to reach out to me and continue the conversation on a one-to-one basis.
Thank you very much for your comment, Ms. Gorman. We appreciate it. If anyone else would like to make comment, the floor is open.
Thank you, Ms. Smith. While we wait for the next hand, I wanted to give another reminder that the Department of Cannabis Regulation will be closed Friday, May 28th, 2021 through Monday, May 31st, 2021, in observance of the Memorial Day holiday. Although the department is closed, the Spark virtual meeting room will still be open. Feel free to still log on and give us your comments and enter into our surveys to help provide us with some valuable feedback. As we mentioned, we are currently in the stakeholder comment period prior to our Spark session. We really appreciate your comments. We've been getting, the 2 comments we've had so far have been very informative, and providing these comments help us develop this report that we're creating that will have future recommendations that we will present to City Council and the mayor. So every recommendation, every specific note that you could give us is greatly appreciated, and it will definitely help us better our social equity program and the licensing program. Ms. Smith, are there any hands?
No, at this time, there are not any raised hands. If anyone would like to make a comment, please raise your hand. We'd love to hear from you during this comment period. Ms. Plummer, no, there are no raised hands at this time.
Thank you. Oh, I think somebody's just came up.
Yes, person with the last 4 digits of the phone number 8030.
Hello, I'm sorry, can you hear me clearly?
Yes, the floor is yours.
Hello, my name is Hansel Urbina. My comment or recommendation to the City Council would be to lower the sensitive use restrictions from retail cannabis business to retail cannabis business to open up the playing field. So that's my recommendation to the City Council or to the Commission itself in terms of this initiative. One thing I don't understand going through the process and being in crunch time ourselves with our application, I don't understand how the executive director is out on medical leave. I sent an email to that individual today, and I understand that we can't gain control over when we're sick and when we're not sick, but it's crunch time here. It's been delay after delay after delay, and we've been waiting a long time to get these things processed. So we understand that the DCR is somewhat short-staffed, but there's some things that are imperative. For example, with my application, I don't understand why number 211 from September 3rd is beating out my application of number 87. So that's my public comment. If the DCR could make an effort to get back to me to discuss this, it'd be great. The contact that I have is out on medical leave. Thank you.
Thank you for your time. We appreciate it. Next, we have a person, Miss Scott, Evelyn Scott. We will unmute you at this time and you will have 2 minutes.
Hello.
Yes.
Hi, everyone. My name is Evelyn Scott, and I'm a social equity owner representing the Brinson Consulting Group. We are also members of the Social Equity Owners and Workers Association. And today we have questions about the application process. We hope in this Spark meeting today, we are able to get answers for our questions and not just information about the history of the social equity program that we hear time and time again in each meeting. Our company's modification request has been in the queue since October 21st of 2020. Every document requested from us has been submitted. At this time, we are waiting on local compliance underway so that we can move forward with the state application process. How much longer do we have to wait for this stage of the process? DCR received our request 7 months ago. On April 1, we got a notice that there were no sensitive uses found and we paid all our fees. And yet we're still waiting on the next steps from the department. Here we are 30 days later from the date of that notice and nothing, absolutely nothing. We are asking for transparency. When is the department going to move forward with modification requests? We requested this back in October. DCR said it would be 120 to 180 days for modifications. It has now been 220 days and our modification has not been completed. We need answers. We demand transparency of these workflow timelines. This is ridiculous, you guys. We're having these Spark meetings. We need answers. We need movement. We're getting delays from the analysts. And look at these calls. Nobody wants to comment because we're not even getting our questions answered. What is this? This is just a off-brand commission meeting, you guys. I'm sorry. Thank you.
Thank you for your comment. We appreciate it. Again, if you're calling in, please utilize *9 to raise your hand if you're calling through your phone, or raise your hand via the Zoom feature. And we would love to hear from you. If anyone would like to make a comment, the floor is open.
Yes, thank you, Ms. Smith. And throughout today's session, feel free to leave your comments related to Spark or today's topic in the Q&A section below. We'll be collecting and analyzing these comments as part of our program and final report. Hearing some of the recommendations and comments today is very enlightening for myself. It's great hearing these direct, specific recommendations. And we are tracking these. We have people who are sitting down and making sure we're monitoring these and getting these all down. So they're all going to go into helping us form, again, more equitable cannabis policies in our social equity program. If there is anybody who would like to leave an additional comment, please feel free to raise your hand.
At this time, there are no hands raised. If anyone would like to make a comment, please raise your hand via the Zoom feature or through your phone. *9 will raise your hand and *6 will unmute you. Okay, I have a person. Oh, you know what? The person just lowered their hand.
Oh, Trats, I would love to hear their comment. If you have a comment and you would love to leave one with us, please let us know. We're listening. Until the next comment comes through or raised hand comes through, I'm going to give another reminder. Our next Cannabis Regulation Commission meeting is Thursday, May 20th, 2021, begins at 2 p.m. To access the commission meeting, you can view it on the department's homepage or under the About menu and Commission Meetings tab. So feel free to join us on next Thursday, May 20th as well.
We will be taking comments for approximately the next 40 minutes or so. So this is a great time to make your comments so that we can capture your comment or question at this time. So please feel free to raise your hand or *9 to raise your hand via phone. Any comments at this time?
I do see a notice in the Q&A. And I know we did mention that if people would like to leave a comment, they can leave it in the Q&A. We don't have to say the person's name, but if there is a comment, I would love to hear it.
The comment basically reads, if we can't get our questions answered here, our analyst doesn't have the answers to our question, the DCR contact does not know who do we contact for questions regarding our applications.
Got it.
If anyone would like to make a comment, please raise your hand so we can unmute you.
Thank you, Ms. Smith. While we wait for the next hand, I want to remind everybody that our virtual meeting room is currently up and open. We do have 2 surveys, one on licensing and regulation and the social equity program, and one on corporate social responsibility and community impact. Inside the virtual meeting room, we also have the comment box, where another place where you can leave your comments. And again, those recommendations would be helpful. Anything specific that you would like to cite is always a great thing for us to have and reference. We also have our Spark Sessions calendar and the RSVP, and the session, the previous session is available inside the Spark virtual meeting room as well. And in the back of the virtual meeting room, we have some educational and informational collateral on the different programs, a DCR and our different licensing program and social equity program. So feel free to get on to the virtual meeting room, leave a comment, browse around, and let us know.
We had another question in the Q&A that was asking how to identify who the 3 parties are that have moved through the temporary application process.
We actually will be addressing that in this Spark session. So that is a great question. Thank you so much. Part of the Spark session is specifically targeted to licensing and regulation. So we'll be speaking about that topic at the 6 o'clock hour.
Thank you. And we have approximately 30 minutes until the session begins, everyone. So please utilize this time to make any comments so that we can hear from you. Again, please raise your hand via the Zoom function or *9 if you're calling in from your phone so that we can unmute you to allow you your 2 minutes of comment. Or feel free to use the Q&A function in Zoom also, and we can address questions and comments there as well.
Thank you, Ms. Smith. In addition to our Spark virtual meeting room, we now have our Spark email list. And so if you've RSVP'd for one of our Spark sessions, you've been getting our emails, but we also have the Spark email list that will have additional information and direct links to our surveys, our comment box, and any news or updates that we will be sending out. We have been doing a lot to try to get this initiative out, so feel free to share this information, this webinar information with friends and family who would like to learn more about cannabis policy in Los Angeles or the social equity program here in Los Angeles.
Again, the floor is open for commenting at this time. You will be allotted 2 minutes to speak. Please feel free to raise your hand via the Zoom feature or by doing *9 on your phone if you are calling in. Ms. Plummer, I have another comment in the Q&A box, basically saying this is not a question, but the contact information you provide does not answer the phone or respond to emails. That's why I'm here.
Thank you. And we will be able to pull this report and be able to reach back out to that person if we're able to answer their questions.
Thank you.
No, thank you.
I would like to say that any comment is important. So even if you feel that your comment would not matter, please take this time to speak and ask a question or comment. Again, we are keeping records of everything, and all of your comments and thoughts will matter. So please utilize this time to have your 2 minutes to speak.
Thank you, Ms. Smith. And again, if you would like to leave a comment, please raise your hand or use *9 to provide stakeholder comment. Feel free to use your name if you're interested. Everybody will have 2 minutes to speak. And again, we're just collecting comments during this period. At this session, we'll be doing polls and other interactive engagements. So that will be a great session as well. So that will begin at 6 p.m. If you do have comments, we would love to hear them and your recommendations. Please keep them on topic. And we appreciate you guys for joining us this evening on this Wednesday evening. I know for me, it's a little cloudy in my area, but it's been a great week for me so far. Spark is adding a bit of brightness to my week. And just really quickly to provide a reminder to those who are listening, on the department's website, there is the complaint portal where you can use that for complaints about unlicensed or illegal commercial cannabis activity, complaints about licensed commercial cannabis activity that you're concerned may be happening in an unlawful or unsafe manner, and non-emergency communications with the Los Angeles Police Department about cannabis and cannabis-related activities. If this is an emergency, please call 911. The complaint portal can be located on the department website at cannabis.lacd.org. It is a menu selection. It is at the far right or the last menu selection. Feel free to use that if you should need to.
And Miss Plummer, I have a person whose hand is raised, Brandon Brinson.
Great, I'll go on mute.
Oh, okay, thank you. We're going to unmute you right now, and you will have 2 minutes to speak.
Yeah, I don't need the whole 2 minutes. I just wanted to let you guys know that we are listening to everybody that's on the call. We're listening, and we're keeping a serious record of this unhelpful situation and program. All of it is just a distraction from what's really going on. You guys never even respond to any of the questions. You just make it seem like you really don't care. Like you guys are saying all this on the phone and in these smart meetings, all of it is false and trash. And the money that you guys are trying to give out is really just crumbs. Like, come on, y'all. Cat Packer, we've been fighting for this for so long. Like, I don't even know how you sleep at night. Because it's just awful. It's just trash. Like, none, you guys, like, y'all paint this fake facade like it's this and it's not that. Y'all, it's really just sad what y'all have done to us for these last 3.5, 4 years. It's really pitiful. And it's really funny because y'all some liars. Everybody, y'all lie so much. And it's just a continuous cycle of nothing but lies. And then we've been fighting for this for so long. You sat here and literally watched us. We on our second part. There's nothing you guys can do. Like, we're not going nowhere. We're gonna be right here fighting for what we believe in and fighting for what's right. Y'all hadn't admitted to all the folk y'all let in the system early and how y'all trashed the whole program. Y'all just fucked up. Y'all made way more of just, y'all fucked up more houses and everything with this program, more households. Y'all ripped apart so much stuff from so many different people with these fake ass programs that it was just really pitiful. And Cat Packer, you sit there, you read your director's report. All of that is trash. Y'all have not once reached out and actually cared about
Thank you,
what
sir.
was going on in the community.
Thank you. Your 2 minutes is up, sir, but thank you very much for your comment. If anyone else would like to make a comment, please raise your hand via Zoom, or if you're calling in through your phone, please punch in *9 and we will unmute you to allow you to make your 2-minute comment.
Thank you, Ms. Smith, and thank you to those who are participating. We really do appreciate your comments this evening, and thank you for joining us this evening. We know it's Wednesday. And again, the Spark session will begin at 6 p.m. We'll be talking about licensing and regulation. We'll have about 8 to 9 different poll questions throughout the event. So it will be very interactive, and we hope you guys will stay and others will join. Feel free to share the information with your friends and family. Again, that will begin at 6 p.m. Right now, we are in our stakeholder comment period. Feel free to leave a question or comment in the Q&A, I should say. We'll be tracking all the comments that we received this evening to include into our final report. I think I see a raised hand.
I'm sorry, I was having a moment, having trouble unmuting myself. Caller with the last 4 digits of your phone number, 8876. We're going to unmute you, and you will have 2 minutes once you begin to speak.
All right, yes. My name is Madison Shockley. I've been participating in this program for over 2 years, and just wanted to, give some comments about some things that might help move things forward. I know that early on at the beginning, when the law was first passed back in 2017, the intention was to give social equity priority in licensing over everyone else. And actually what ended up happening is the pre-ICOs got the priority, and they were grandfathered in and able to continue operating where they were, as they were. And they let the department kind of figure out how to collect their applications after the fact. And I think that at this point, it's important that the 200 phase 3 licensees who are in the queue now get that same treatment and actually, give us real priority right now. I think that if a location has been deemed compliant, give them temporary approval now and let people go to the state and get approval to open their doors, and then come back and figure out the rest of the things in the application. Because at this point, a lot of us are being held up by the fact that we can't get through the modification process for minor stuff. And if we can get those approvals now and start making money, and then figure the rest out later. If a store doesn't meet all the application points, then close them down
I'm sorry, sir,
later
but
at that point.
thank you for your comment. Your 2 minutes is up, but we appreciate you taking the time to make a comment. Thank you. If anyone else would like to make a comment, please raise your hand. Or if you're calling through your phone, push *9 to raise your hand and then *6 to unmute yourself. Okay, we have another comment right now. Person with the phone number ending in the last 4 digits, 4478. You will be unmuted and you will have 2 minutes once you begin to speak.
Hello, my name is Cynthia Morsi, and I'm calling to request, demand for you guys to please prioritize us 200 applicants that have been waiting since 2017. We're all minorities. This program is for minorities, and it seems like the rich people are the ones getting the help. Why? Because these pre-ICOs already had a business. They already went on and did what they had to do. You guys prioritize them before us. We're suffering because of this. I'm a 9 to 5. I work every day trying to maintain my home and trying to get a space. We knew it wasn't going to be easy, but we didn't think that the DCR was going to make it even harder for us. Please, please, I'm asking, I'm begging, I'm demanding for you guys to please release funds to us. We need to move forward. We're stuck. A lot of us are stuck where we're just not moving forward. Whether it's because the DCR is not moving with our applications, it's because they're not funding us, the money that was given to the social equity, because we didn't went and beg. It was given to us, just like any other program that the government makes. They give them funds. We have funds that are not being moved. Please, the only thing I'm asking is please help us. I am drowning in this social equity program, which was supposed to, for me, to alleviate a lot of my debts, a lot of things that we are still paying for the war on drugs. I'm done. Thank you very much.
Thank you for your time. We appreciate your comment. If anyone else would like to make a comment, we have approximately 12 minutes left during this comment period. Please raise your hand so that we can unmute you at this time, or if you're calling in through your phone, please use *9 to raise your hand and then *6 to unmute yourself. Okay, I have another person whose hand is raised. The last name Keith. You are going to be unmuted and you will have 2 minutes once you begin speaking.
Good evening. This is Kika Keith. I am a social equity entrepreneur. I have been involved in this process since 2017, when we thought at the time with the legislation that was written that social equity applicants will be prioritized 2 to 1. Now we've waited 3 years and we've seen 184 retail licenses come on board. And we also saw when this happened, there was a need that the city council expressly decided to fast track the phase 1 applicants, the pre-ICOs, because it was an essential need. And so we know that the city has the ability to fast track processing. There's precedence, it has been done. And after we've spoken to you year after year of holding on to properties, we're speaking to you about the hardships. I'm hearing ladies come on and talk about them about to refinance their homes in order to keep a hold of this dream that we've held so closely to. You guys cannot keep telling us that you're learning how to figure this out. You can't keep telling us that there's not enough staff. So I'm here to make 2 requests. The application modification, you must shorten that time frame from 120 days. When that process opened in October and folks submitted application modifications, we didn't get invoices until February. So you're talking about 4 months that we waited on hold while y'all were figuring out processes. Then you're telling us once you start the process, we have another 4 months. This is after holding on to properties for 3 years. Y'all got to do better. There has to be a sense of urgency. You cannot have these spark meetings where you're hearing these same comments. And how is this a stakeholder comment and you guys are not giving us feedback? We had to stop the processes. We had a long ass audit before you then gave the additional 100 licenses. It's too much time. People are hurting out here. So I have several recommendations. Is one.
Ms. Keith, thank you for your time. Your 2 minutes is up, but thank you very much for your comment. We appreciate it. Do we have anyone else that would like to make a comment? We have a little under 10 minutes left before we start our event, but if you have any questions at this time, please raise your hand. Or if you're calling through your phone, use *9 to raise your hand.
Yes, thank you, Ms. Smith. And as a reminder, participants have 2 minutes to speak. Each participant is allowed to speak once during the stakeholder comment period, and then comments should remain on topic. And this is just comment collection. We're trying to get all of your feedback, recommendations. So this is not a period where we're going to be responding. We really want to hear what you guys want us to change or what you want to see changed about cannabis policy here in Los Angeles. And as Ms. Smith stated, we have about 7 to 8 minutes left of this period. That means we could take about 2 to 3 more comments. If there are people out there, please feel free to raise your hand at this time. You're also free to leave comments, and we want to see as many comments as you want to leave in the comment box via the virtual meeting room. You can go into the virtual meeting room from cannabis.lacity.org, clicking on Spark. The comment box is right in the center of the virtual meeting room. You can also leave us a comment tonight in the Q&A section. We're taking down all of those. So if there's additional comments that you have that you want to make sure you get out, please feel free to use the Q&A function so we can get those down. And we know, again, it's 2 minutes per person. So if you do have those comments still tonight, drop them in the comment box in the virtual meeting room or in the Q&A for us tonight. We'll be beginning the Spark session in about 6 minutes or so. The session will include about 8 to 9 poll questions as well. So it's going to be very interactive, and we hope you will stay and join us. Feel free to invite your friends and family to join as well. It's going to speak about licensing and regulation. And so we'll be beginning soon.
We have approximately 6 minutes left for the comment session. So please, if you'd like to get your comment in before we begin at 6 o'clock, please raise your hand.
Yes, and I'd like to thank MBI Media for helping us with this Spark initiative. The first round of our Spark initiatives are more definitely of a listening session and helping to provide information on our processes and application processes. And the next version of our social equity, licensing and regulation, and community impact Spark sessions, we will have breakout rooms where MBI and DCR will be working together to moderate those rooms and get those direct feedback and have, spark a conversation between those who will be in those various rooms. And so we will have more sessions for people to attend, and we do have other various engagement points for the community. We do want to bring more people into the conversation as well. So please spread the word about all of our Spark sessions, the Spark surveys in the comment box. Again, the comment box and the Q&A are always open. You can leave as many comments as you would like to. Again, direct and specific recommendations would always help. Any comment that you have is a great comment for us to receive. We want to hear back, and this initiative is a way for us to collect this feedback in a standard and organized manner to then be able to analyze it and produce these reports and recommendations. So these direct recommendations that we've been hearing tonight, to me, it's great. We love hearing these. So drop those recommendations and comments in that Q&A or in the Spark virtual meeting room comment box. And I want to give one more just quick reminder on how to reach the department should anybody want to reach the department. I know we have our licensing email at dcrlicensing@lacity.org. And then we also have our, for non-applicants and licensees, cannabis@lacity.org. And our our phone number is 213-978-0738. Again, our virtual public counter hours are now Monday through Thursday, 10 a.m. to 4 p.m., closed on Friday and holidays. And we will be closed on Friday, May 28th through Monday, May 31st, in observance of the Memorial Day holiday.
Ms. Plummer, I think we have time for one more comment. If anyone would like to make a final comment before we go into our session, please raise your hand at this time.
And if I can recall, I believe we were hearing comments. The last commenter was a Miss Keith, and before that, Mr. Shockley, whoever is out there, please feel free to drop those comments into the Q&A. And we'll be sure to, whoever's monitoring our box right now, we're working with NBI Media, they'll be sure to respond to you so we can get those recommendations directly from you as well. So please use that Q&A function tonight since you are on, so we can get those direct recommendations. We want to hear from you guys. And we have about 2 to 3 more minutes before we are going to start the Spark session. And like I said, the Spark session will have multiple poll questions and engagement points. Please feel free. We would want you to stay. Please invite others to join us. But we will have time, I think, for maybe one more comment. If there is anybody new out there, Ms. Smith, let me know.
No, at this time, there are no hands raised.
If you are interested in leaving a comment verbally and you're new to the line and have not left one verbally yet, please feel free to raise your hand or use *9 if you're calling from a phone to provide stakeholder comment. Again, you have 2 minutes and we want to hear those comments, please.
Looks like there are no further comments at this time, Ms. Plummer.
Thank you, Ms. Smith. And thank you all for joining us this evening. We'll be beginning our Spark session presentation momentarily. Again, thank you and welcome to tonight's Spark session. We will be beginning momentarily. The Department of Cannabis Regulation is recording this meeting by audio and visual means. By continuing with this meeting, you consent to this recording and acknowledge that the Department of Cannabis Regulation owns the recording and may use or reproduce it in any manner it deems necessary. If you do not consent to being recorded, please discontinue your participation in this meeting. Good afternoon, and thank you for joining us for today's Spark session number 3. We recognize that there are many questions and concerns about cannabis in our community, and also recognize that current laws about cannabis continue to have significant impacts on issues like employment rights, housing rights, educational opportunities, and access to healthcare. And these laws and policies continue to have wide-ranging impacts on Angelenos, especially on marginalized communities. This is the genesis of Spark. With your help, DCR can support and provide the community with access, resources, and knowledge about cannabis activity in the city to the local community. Spark needs you, members of the local community and stakeholders impacted by cannabis policy or those seeking to affect cannabis policy, to share your feedback with us so that when DCR makes future policy recommendations to local leaders, those recommendations will be shaped by the individuals and communities most likely to be impacted. Before I introduce our panelists, I'd like to briefly review a few updates from our Spark campaign. Spark is generally broken down into 5 key phases: collecting feedback, analyzing feedback, creating the final report. Then DCR and the Commission will develop and present the report and recommendations to City Council and appropriate council committees. From there, it will be up to City Council and council committees to take action. We are currently in the collecting feedback phase of this process. Throughout today's session, feel free to leave us a comment related to Spark or today's topic in the Q&A section below. We'll be collecting and analyzing these comments as part of our program and final report. If you hear something you have a comment on, please drop it in the Q&A. A lot has happened since we launched Spark on April 20th, 2021. Last Saturday, we hosted our second Spark session, and it was focused on the social equity program. That was our first session to have the hour-long stakeholder comment period, and we did have quite a few people attend the stakeholder comment period. In addition to the stakeholder comment period, the department has a comment box and 2 Spark surveys, which are available in the Spark virtual meeting room. To access the virtual meeting room, visit the Spark landing page at cannabis.lacity.org. I will now pass the presentation over to DCR's Executive Director, who will begin with introductions and opening remarks for today.
Thank you, Ms. Plummer. My name is Kat Packer, and I'm the Executive Director of the City of Los Angeles Department of Cannabis Regulation. Welcome to our second Spark session. Spark is unique, and that is our third Spark session. Spark is unique in that it is a targeted tool and an additional forum for folks to share information with the department. Participants of Spark should see themselves as part of a focus group or a study that will provide information to the department and Cannabis Regulation Commission that we can use in our role and responsibility to advise the City of Los Angeles, including our mayor and city council, on cannabis and cannabis policy in the city. Spark is a place for stakeholders to provide their input. As feedback is received through Spark, it will be used again to create a report with specific recommendations that will help us to take action on policy and program recommendations. We want to hear directly from you, our stakeholders. We have also invited members of our Cannabis Regulation Commission to use Spark as a tool to receive information from stakeholders as well in a more organized fashion. This will allow us to analyze information in a more intentional way. We've received different comments through forums such as the commission meetings and through different licensing processes. However, we've historically been limited on how we can address those comments and what we can conceptualize. With Spark, we will be able to be more bold and intentional with our approach to things like our social equity program and licensing and regulation. Folks that are in today's Spark session, both the participants and panelists and folks who are listening in, should consider themselves stakeholders in this process. Anyone who has an opinion on cannabis policy or who has been impacted by cannabis policy is our stakeholder. Again, we understand and continue to understand the impacts that cannabis policy has on communities, and we intentionally did broader outreach for this particular initiative to pull in folks who may not normally consider themselves to be stakeholders in our process. We need feedback from as many people as possible, and that's part of the reason why we're doing this. We have gone through this process over the course of the last 3 years, and we've learned many lessons along the way. And a lot of those lessons are driven directly by stakeholders. Case in point, just last summer, we did a comprehensive revise to the Cannabis Procedures Ordinance, and it took us a while to compile as a team all of those recommendations. But we recognize that through Spark, we can do much of the same, but driven by stakeholder recommendations, particularly on things like our social equity program, licensing and regulation, community impact in corporate social responsibility. This is part of what we're most excited about, to be able to produce this report, to be able to share this report with the commission and have stakeholders provide additional feedback. And then again, this fall, for us to be able to make recommendations to City Council and organize with community to pass these recommendations so that we can be a model for more responsible and equitable cannabis policy. I have a few folks with me who are joining in today's conversation to help with today's Spark session. So I'd like to briefly introduce those individuals. First, we have Rocky Wiles, who is the department's Compliance and Operations Manager. Ms. Wiles, please feel free to provide opening remarks.
Hi, good evening. My name is Rocky Wiles, and as Director Packer stated, I am the department's Compliance and Operations Manager. In this capacity, I also coordinate and provide support to the licensing division. Real briefly, just about me, in the last 20 plus years with the City of LA, I have worked with the Department of Building and Safety and the Planning Department, and have extensive experience with building and zoning code compliance, and in general, the building development process. So later in this presentation, I will be sharing licensing and regulatory program information with you. And I'm happy to be here, and hopefully we'll be able to provide additional information for you. I'll now pass the presentation back to you, Ms. Packer.
Thank you so much, Ms. Wiles. I would like to now introduce our Cannabis Regulation President and Vice President. Vice President On, I'm sorry, President On.
Hey, good evening. Thank you, Director Packer. My name is Robert On, and I'm the Cannabis Regulation Commission President. It's a pleasure to be here tonight.
Good evening, everyone. Happy Wednesday. My name is Cyrus Mason, and I serve as the Department of Cannabis Regulation Commission Vice President.
Thank you, Vice President Mason. And just want to take a moment to thank DCR, all the staff for all your efforts in putting this important initiative together, and for having both the Vice President and I here tonight. The opportunity to speak to folks about our role, it's extremely important that folks understand what exactly the Commission does and what we're hoping to achieve and garner through this initiative. It's very vital to the development of equitable cannabis policy in the city, and we're looking forward to the rest of the evening. Thank you.
Thank you so much, President On and Vice President Mason. As you can see, folks who are joining today from the department and the commission are committed to collecting your feedback and making sure that we can turn that into viable recommendations before our City Council and Mayor. I will now pass it back to Ms. Plummer, who is going to post our first poll question for today. And I'm hoping that members who are joining us in today's Spark session can participate in these polls. These polls are much like our surveys, and that will be taking this information and helping us to improve programming and policies, or potentially build new program and policies. So Ms. Plummer, passing it back over to you.
Thank you, Director Packer. So I'm going to go ahead and launch the first poll question. It is, and it's a multiple choice question. So it's, which of the following best describes you? Please select all that apply. Are you a prospective social equity applicant, a current social equity applicant or licensee, prospective general applicant, a current general applicant or licensee, another cannabis industry participant? Do you live in the city of Los Angeles, work in the city of Los Angeles? Are you a cannabis patient or consumer? Or are you on the neighborhood council, or just other? We want to hear from you. Let us know who we are speaking to today. So again, which of the following best represents you? And it's a multiple choice question. Zoom should allow you to choose one or two if you would like to. And the question, the answers are coming in. So which of the following best describes you? Are you a prospective social equity applicant? Meaning you're looking for information on how you can become one, verified as a social equity applicant, or hoping to enter into those different processes. Are you currently a social equity applicant or licensee, like part of those different application processes? Are you a prospective general applicant? There's certain application types that general applicants can apply for at this time, and some that they can't. So we need to know that information. Who are we speaking to? Do you live in the city of Los Angeles or work in the city of Los Angeles? Not necessarily for the city of Los Angeles, but again, do you work in the city of Los Angeles, coming here to work every day? Are you a cannabis patient and or consumer? And especially, we love talking to our stakeholders. So we want to know, are you on a neighborhood council? Are you a neighborhood council member? And again, this question is a multiple choice. So you can choose as many as you would like. About half of the people attending have participated. So we're going to go ahead and wrap up in a few seconds. I'm going to give a few more seconds for people to participate. So which of the following best describes you? And it looks like by far, most of the people on the call and who participated are current social equity applicants or licensees. So we know that we need to speak to our social equity applicants and licensees. So thank you guys for attending tonight. The next largest category, it looks like, oh, some more people are coming in. Let me end the polling. Are prospective social equity applicants or current general applicants. And a lot of people also live in the city and or cannabis patients or consumers. And I will say our next session is this Saturday and it's on community impact. So definitely come back for that one. We'll have similar kind of poll questions and whatnot. So let's share these so everybody can see. And these are the final results. Thank you for participating in that poll. So before I pass the presentation back to Director Packer to speak about the city's cannabis licensing and regulatory program, let's go ahead and ask another poll question. So the next question that I would like to ask is, how would you describe your familiarity with the City of Los Angeles's commercial cannabis laws and regulations? So are you familiar with the Cannabis Procedures Ordinance? Do you know about different processes? What are you familiar with everything that DCR does? I mean, there's some people who might be very familiar. They've been in this process. We've heard from a lot of people during the comment period who have been familiar with DCR for quite a while. You might know a little bit about what we do, but you're still hoping to get more information. We want to know, again, who are we speaking to? This helps us know who we're engaging and how we can better engage our full community. So let us know, who are we speaking to? So again, how would you describe your familiarity with the City of LA's commercial cannabis laws and regulations? So we still have people coming in. This one is a single choice, so you are able to only choose between the three. So I'm going to wrap it. It looks like it's slowing down, so I'm going to wrap it up in a few more seconds. But last call, how would you describe your familiarity with the City of Los Angeles commercial cannabis laws and regulations? This kind of information helps us know how we can better inform, again, our community about our laws and regulations. What do we need to be better about educating? Do we need to do a public information campaign? All of these stats and numbers are very useful and helpful to everything that we're going to be doing. And I do want to remind everyone, as we go throughout the night, if you have a comment, feel free, or suggestion or recommendation, feel free to leave that in the Q&A box. And so it looks like we have about almost 70% of people attending have voted. So let's end polling and see. So it looks like a lot of the people on this call specifically right now are very familiar with our cannabis laws and regulations. So that, again, is very helpful for us to know what who we're speaking to and what kind of programming and what kind of things we need to create. I don't know if people attended the last Spark session, but Dr. Brown spoke about our business licensing and compliance assistance program and how that will be coming online in the next couple of months. And so this lets us know where our constituents are at and knowing about our different laws and regulations. So I will stop my share and I will now pass the presentation over back to Director Packer.
Thank you, Ms. Plummer. So today's discussion is focused on our licensing and regulatory program. We do want to point folks directly back to the various laws and policies that provide the framework for our operations, primarily Measure M, ordinances that provided and articulated the department and commission authority, the Cannabis Procedures Ordinance, which I'm sure folks are most familiar with if you've engaged with us regularly, rules and regulations for the Cannabis Procedures Ordinance, the what we refer to as the Cannabis Location Restrictions Ordinance, and then we'll also walk through various application procedures and resources. The idea behind sharing some of this information is that as we share different components of the licensing and regulatory program, we hope that sparks input on these specific segments. And so, for example, I heard during the stakeholder comment period a recommendation about lowering the tax rate for social equity applicants. So knowing where the existing tax rate is and how it applies to different categories of activity types, we're going to present that information. And then if you have feedback on that specifically, again, feel free to provide those comments in the Q&A box or through the Spark comment box. These are the topics that we want to be able to get your input on as we frame today's Spark session. Next slide. So and this is primarily for new stakeholders who are part of the process, but to quickly do a City of Los Angeles Cannabis 101, want to remind folks that the framework for licensure and our licensing and regulatory program here in the City of Los Angeles is primarily a result of the Medical Cannabis Regulation and Safety Act, which was passed at the state level in 2017, and our local initiative Measure M, which gave the city the first time authority to tax and regulate both medical and adult use activity. This was back in 2017 in March when the initiative passed, and I've been with the city since August of 2017. Again, Measure M kind of led the way for the creation of the department and Cannabis Regulation Commission and our respective responsibilities, both in advising the City of Los Angeles, but also administering the procedures and rules and regulations for cannabis businesses. Next slide. So in Measure M, there were provisions that established specific tax rates for those who would engage in commercial cannabis activity. And it's important to note that here in the state of California, there are local and state taxes, and there are regular business tax, and then a cannabis specific business tax. Here in the City of Los Angeles, what you see on screen are these cannabis specific business taxes, those specific rates. And you will see that the City of Los Angeles taxes medical cannabis for retail sales at 5%, adult use sales at 10%, what would be considered cannabis transportation or distribution at 1%, the same for testing, and then cultivation and other kind of non-categorized activities are taxed at 2%, or essentially $20 per $1,000 in gross receipts. So those are our existing business, cannabis business taxes. And if you have specific feedback on cannabis business taxes, we want to hear from you. You can provide that feedback in the Q&A function or through the Spark comment box in the virtual meeting room. As mentioned previously, DCR is specifically responsible for administering the commercial cannabis licensing and regulatory program. We process all applications for cannabis licenses in the city of Los Angeles and make licensing determinations and recommendations to the Cannabis Regulation Commission. We also manage the city's social equity program, and we recognize that the social equity program is just one tool that the city has available to begin to acknowledge and repair the harms caused by the war on drugs and the disproportionate enforcement of cannabis prohibition. In addition to DCR, again, the city has a Cannabis Regulation Commission. You heard from, let me go to the next slide. You heard from the Cannabis Regulation Commission president and vice president. They have specific authority in relation to advising the city council and the city generally on cannabis laws and programs. And they're also our partners in making licensing determinations specifically for retail businesses when during the annual licensing process. So I know that to date, all of our applicants have been going through a temporary approval process. Our cannabis procedures ordinance provides that the commission actually makes the licensing determination for the annual licensing process for retail businesses. So when we begin the annual licensing process, the commission will start to have additional meetings focused more directly in participating and administering licensing determinations.
Thank you, Director Packard. Now we can ask our next poll question. And again, this all helps us know who we're speaking to and what we can do better. And we kind of want to know specifically, have you attended a Cannabis Regulation Commission meeting previously? They happen, they're scheduled every first and third Thursday for 2 p.m. And I know we have a lot of constituents out there who want to hear about what the department is doing and what the Cannabis Regulation Commission is doing. And so we know people have attended before, but we want to know if there are people out there who might not have attended. I think that to me specifically, it speaks to knowing that although there are a lot of people who have attended, we know that we still need to incorporate some new information or some background information into our commission reports so that as people do join us and do join these commission meetings, we give them some background on what DCR does, what the commission does, and these different processes. And so it's good to see people participating and who has been to a commission meeting before and who has not. We have about 47% of people have, getting a few more responses in. So again, right now, our poll question is asking, have you attended a Cannabis Regulation Commission meeting previously? And it's looking like the majority of people who are joining us tonight have attended a commission meeting previously. And the numbers are still rolling in. Now we're about 70% have voted. And so again, let us know, have you attended a Cannabis Regulation Commission previously? And it's good to see that there are some people that, you know, have not been to a commission meeting previously. So we need to make sure we're spreading the word about our commission meetings and our various Spark sessions to those who might not know about DCR or the commission and what we do. And so let's go ahead and we'll end polling in 3, 2, 1. And so again, 81% of those who participated have attended a Cannabis Regulation Commission previously. And so that's good to know for us to know. So thank you guys for participating in this poll. We will have some more polls coming up. Now I'll pass it back to Director Packer.
Thank you, Ms. Plummer. And I just want to comment, I'm seeing some very rich feedback in the Q&A. So I would just encourage folks to continue to share input and comments with us through this Q&A function on Zoom. We are reviewing all of those comments and input, and then all of these comments and input will be included in our analysis and report. So I've seen through this process that the Q&A tool seems to be a either preferred tool or at least a useful mechanism for folks to provide those comments. I just want to continue to encourage that activity. So thank you, Ms. Plummer, for sharing information about these polls in relation to attendance at the Cannabis Regulation Commission meetings. As folks may know, again, our primary body of law that we administer is the cannabis procedures. It's the cannabis procedures that articulate the way in which the department and commission are to process commercial cannabis license applications and the requirements of various applicants and licensees. The ordinance also is the body of law that authorizes the different activity and license types in the city of Los Angeles, specifically authorizing the department and commission to issue commercial cannabis activity licenses for indoor cultivation, manufacturing, distribution, testing, retail, and delivery. If there are any specific recommendations about the cannabis procedures ordinance, we want to hear your feedback either through the Spark comment box or in the Q&A. Next slide. So during last year in the summer, the city of Los Angeles approved an ordinance which comprehensively amended and reorganized different portions of Article 4, Chapter 10. This is where our cannabis procedures are located. We know that since the beginning, there have probably been close to a dozen revisions to the cannabis procedures ordinance. And we recognize and want to be able to bring a set of additional comprehensive amendments to our council this fall. And so as a general matter, cannabis laws and policies are continuously evolving, and we encourage members of the public to stay engaged in the process. I again want to thank folks who are participating today in today's Spark session by participating in the process in this particular manner. Next slide. In addition to the cannabis procedures, we're also wanting to get specific feedback on our rules and regulations. And folks can find our rules and regulations under the laws and policies section on our website. There's a menu dedicated to laws and policies. You'd be able to see a drop down to identify the rules and regs. But the rules and regs work hand in hand with the cannabis procedures ordinance. And part of what is defined or further clarified in the rules and regs are various definitions, license types, application procedures, additional requirements, namely for the annual licensing process for specific business activities, how inspections are conducted, different notices that have to be provided to the public, the procedure for the issuance of licensing and hearing. There are appeals procedures, procedures relative to renewals or administrative appeals. And then there's also specific language as it relates to the social equity program and financial grant program. So for members of the public who are interested in providing specific recommendations on our policies and programs, I would just encourage you to take a look also at our rules and regs, because we want to make sure that there's symmetry between both the rules and regs and the cannabis procedures ordinance. So if there's specific feedback on the rules and regs and all of the details that are included in the rules and regs, please share that information with us also. Next slide. In addition to the cannabis procedures, which outlines the process for the administration of application and licensing, there are several other ordinances that frame what commercial cannabis activity looks like in the city of Los Angeles. One of those major bodies of law is what we refer to as the Cannabis Location Restriction Ordinance. This can also be found online by visiting our website under the Cannabis Laws and Policies section. But it's in the Location Restriction Ordinance that the law articulates restrictions on where cannabis businesses can locate throughout the city, specifying that different commercial cannabis activities are to take place in different zones, established zones. And it's the Cannabis Location Restriction Ordinance that also specifies what we refer to as sensitive uses or buffers that are required to be maintained between a cannabis business and the specifically identified sensitive use. So here in the city of Los Angeles, a licensed retailer who's engaged in storefront activity must be engaged and located outside of a 700-foot radius of a school, public park, public library, alcoholism or drug abuse recovery or treatment facility, daycare center, or location where there's permanent supportive housing. The Location Restriction Ordinance also articulates that a licensed non-storefront retailer must be 600 feet away from any school, and anyone who's engaged in volatile manufacturing must be outside of a 600-foot radius of any school and a 200-foot radius of any residentially zoned property. I know that we have received input in commission meetings and even through the various stakeholder comment periods that we've had about the existence of these restrictions, about things like lowering buffers between retail facilities. And so these are the types of things that if you have specific feedback on, we want to hear from you. I know that we've heard from applicants in the past that the restrictive nature of our Cannabis Location Restriction Ordinance really limits the locations where activities can take place, and the impact that that's had on operators when they're seeking to move, and particularly right now, based on the current ordinance, when they are limited in their ability to move into their existing community plan area. So I imagine that there is robust opinion on the cannabis location requirements. And so if there are specific feedback or comments on this particular body of law or ordinance, please share that with us. And I'll now pass it to Ms. Plummer for another poll question.
Thank you. Yes. And so as I'm pulling up this poll question, I'm sure there's some comments that will come into the Q&A. And so thank you guys for your participation this evening. And so now we've spoken about the Cannabis Procedures Ordinance. Now I want to know, have you applied for a City of Los Angeles commercial cannabis license or for temporary approval? So let's pull this question up. So again, let us know, have you applied for an LA commercial cannabis license or temporary approval? We want to hear again, all of this lets us know who we're speaking to, what we can improve on. And as you're thinking through some of these topics that we're going through, dropping those recommendations into the Q&A. Again, Director Packer just spoke about the commercial cannabis ordinance or the cannabis procedures ordinance and the location restrictions. So if you have comments about that at this time, if you finish the poll, feel free to drop those into the Q&A. We heard specific comments about, zoning and sensitive use restrictions. So we want to hear from you, and we want to know what you would recommend or what you want to do or what you would want to see from your cannabis policy here in Los Angeles. And again, we want to know who we're speaking to. Have you applied for a City of Los Angeles commercial cannabis license or temporary approval? At our Spark session number 2 last Saturday, it was on the social equity program, and we learned that we asked a few questions related to, similar to this, and asked what were some barriers to entry. And so thinking about that, why weren't people applying if they weren't applying? How could people enter into the industry? What resources from the social equity program do people want to see? And so all of that information is also on the website and in the virtual meeting room. The virtual meeting room does have resource centers. Stations 2 and 3 are resource stations that have collateral for people to look at, fact sheets and FAQs that will help spark additional thoughts for you guys when leaving comments or answering the surveys. And again, right now we're asking, have you applied for a City of Los Angeles commercial cannabis license or temporary approval? And it looks like about a little over half of the people have voted. And I think I just saw a few more come in. So we're going to go ahead and end the polling and share results. And so about 2/3 of the people who responded have applied for a license or temporary approval, and about 1/3 have not. So that's good for us to know that most people have either applied or not applied, and there's nobody out there who is unsure about their status. So let's move on to the next question, which is a follow-up to the first question. So for those who have applied, and for those who have not, please feel free to select NA. But for those who have applied, which of the following cannabis licenses have you applied for? And this is a multiple choice question. So please feel free to fill out however many that you might need or want to select. Again, we want to hear from you and who we're speaking to. This all helps us, and not only the creation of recommendations for policy amendments, but also for public information campaigns. What do we need to do as a department? Do we need to create webinars on certain topics? Do we need to implement certain things? So all of this information will help us develop great programming for the future. And please keep attending those Cannabis Regulation Commission meetings. Our partner, MBI Media, will be joining us on future meetings as we start to wrap up these sessions and these surveys and these comments and start to present some of this information at those commission meetings as well. So definitely stay engaged with what we're doing. And right now, for those who have applied for a commercial cannabis license or temporary approval, we're asking which ones that you have applied for. And this is multiple choice, so you can feel free to fill out a few of them if you know. I know on the last question, we had 5 people who hadn't applied. And so I'm thinking there should be 5 people who picked NA. So I'm hoping we get to that one more person in the next couple of seconds before I close polling. But it's good to see that the different activity types that people have been applying for, which ones are the most applied for. So again, I'm going to give a few more seconds. So which City of Los Angeles commercial cannabis? We got to 5 on the NA. I knew if I said that, I would get that 5th person. Thank you for your participation. So which City of LA commercial cannabis licenses have you applied for? Please select all that apply. And through and through. Retail is number 1, followed by delivery, then distribution, manufacturing, and cultivation. And then I said my 5 who had not applied, they did pick in A. So it's good to see where our spectrum of knowledge and where our spectrum of applicants and licensees are. So now I will pass the presentation, oops, sorry about that, over to Rocky Wiles. Actually, yes.
Yes. Hi, sorry, I was trying to unmute myself. Okay, so we're going to be talking about our licensing program. In order to participate in commercial cannabis activity within the city of Los Angeles, both a state license and a local license from the Department of Cannabis Regulation is required. So I'll be speaking about the city's licensing program, but I wanted to provide you with information about the state's regulatory bodies. So we have the Bureau of Cannabis Control. They're the lead agency in regulating commercial cannabis licenses for medical and adult use cannabis in the state. The BCC is responsible for licensing retailers, distribution, testing labs, and micro businesses. The Manufacturer Cannabis Safety Branch, which is a division of the California Department of Public Health, is responsible for regulating and licensing all commercial cannabis manufacturing in the state. And then the third agency is Cal Cannabis Cultivation Licensing. They're a division of the California Department of Food and Agriculture, also known as CDFA. And they're responsible for licensing cultivators in the state. So you can find these links in our website under law and policy, under the laws and policy menu, which is under additional licensing and permitting agency resources in DCR's website. If you have specific feedback about the relationship between our licensing processes and the state licensing processes, please let us know. I believe that's going to be one of the poll questions later. Next slide. Thank you, Raina. So commercial cannabis licensing is categorized in 3 distinct phases in the city. To date, DCR has already administered application processing for existing operators. That is pursuant to LAMC 104.07 and 104.08. There were 3 phases. Phase 1 is the dealt with the existing medical marijuana dispensaries, also known as EMMDs, and that began in January 2018. Phase 2 involved the EMMD supply chain, and that began in August of 2018. Phase 3 involved the new businesses for social equity applicants, which began in September of 2019, and for which DCR already identified 200 social equity individual applicants. In October of 2020, DCR opened application processing for general applicants and delivery for social equity applicants. This application processing window still remains open. DCR has concluded its review of Phase 3 Retail Round 1 applications. And like I said, we identified the 200 social equity individual applicants eligible for further processing. These 200 applicants may receive temporary approval to operate a retail storefront business when DCR has determined that the application is complete in compliance with equity share requirements. With the conclusion of Phase 3 Retail Round 1, the City of Los Angeles boasts the nation's largest cohort of social equity individual applicants to have access to cannabis retail license and business ownership opportunities. If you have feedback about these phases of application processing, or if you would like to see additional phases of application processing, please let us know. Next slide, please. So this is a table from our website where we have summarized application processing windows and license restrictions at a glance. For example, DCR is currently accepting application for testing laboratories, non-volatile manufacturing distribution, and distribution transport only from all prospective commercial cannabis businesses. And DCR is accepting non-storefront retail delivery applications from social equity applicants. It's important to note that only social equity applicants can apply for delivery and retail license applications until January 1, 2025. If you have feedback on application processing for these license types, or would like to see new license types, please share that information with us as well. For information on the social equity program and eligibility, you can watch our last Spark session via the Spark virtual meeting room, which can be found on the DCR website. I will now bring back Ms. Plummer for our next poll question.
Thank you, Ms. Wiles. So our next poll question, which I'll go ahead and bring up now, is do you have familiarity with any of the following topic areas? And let's go ahead and bring that up. So do you have familiarity with any of the following topic areas? Select all that you're familiar with. This is multiple choice, so you could choose multiple different choices that are shown. Those are individual eligibility verification for the social equity program, entity level verification for the social equity program, the public convenience or necessity process, pre-application review procedure, temporary approval process or procedure, invoicing and payment of fees, application modification process, inspection process, other local permitting requirements, and state licensing process. Again, we're getting this information to help us figure out what people do know about, what we can do better about communicating. Some of this information we have video tutorials on our website. So let us know, what do you know about? What are you familiar with currently about all the different processes that DCR has? And so again, do you have familiarity with any of the following topic areas? Individual eligibility verification for the social equity program, entity level verification for the social equity program, the public convenience or necessity process, pre-application review procedure, temporary review approval procedure, invoicing and payment of fees, application modification process, inspection process, other local permitting requirements. So that could be with DWP, DBS, or LAFD, and the state licensing procedures. So let us know. This again helps us, all information helps us figure out what we need to do and what recommendations we need to make. We'll be collecting all of these poll questions and the information and feedback that we get from you guys into, again, the final report. So let us know and we will end. It looks like most people currently on the call are familiar with individual eligibility verification, and entity level verification is second, followed by invoicing and payment of fees, and then the temporary approval process and pre-application review procedure. So this is interesting. 9, 10, 9. Perfect. And I mean, as we know, there are people on this call who are new to our processes. So it's good to see also what we can improve upon and what we can speak more about to those who are new to DCR. So I will stop this and I will pass this back over to Ms. Wiles.
Thank you, Ms. Plummer. Okay, so I'm going to go over some different licensing procedures briefly. The first one that's up on the screen is the PCM process. Currently, the number of retail, cultivation, and volatile manufacturing commercial cannabis activity licenses are capped and are limited by community plan area based on the definition of undue concentration. So once DCR issues the max number of these types of licenses in any one of these CPAs, that area has reached undue concentration. When an area becomes unduly concentrated, an applicant cannot apply for one of these license types without having a PCM finding from City Council. A commercial cannabis PCM request only determines whether an application may be submitted to DCR. It is not a recommendation to the department, and it is not approval or denial of a license. This workflow that you're seeing on your screen can be found in DCR's website under the licensing menu, under the submenu application procedures and resources. If you have specific feedback or comments about this process, please visit the virtual meeting room and leave a comment in the Spark comment box. Next slide, please. The department has also prepared several resources to assist applicants with the PCN process. These resources can be found on the department's website under the licensing menu. We have prepared forms such as the one you see on your screen, which is the PCN stakeholder input form. And there are also video tutorials for each of these processes. Next slide, please. All PCN requests that we have received have been transmitted to the city clerk and are currently being scheduled and considered by the Planning and Land Use Management Committee, also known as PLUM. We recommend subscribing to the council files so that you can see whenever changes to the file are made, such as scheduling of these cases before committee and or council. You can find the council file on our website under the DCR website licensing menu under public notice. Next slide. What you're seeing on your screen now is the pre-application review workflow. The Cannabis Procedures Ordinance requires that prior to filing an application to engage in commercial cannabis activity, an applicant must successfully complete the pre-application review process. The pre-application review process requires basically two things: that DCR first verify eligibility of primary personnel subject to a background review, which is the live scan process, and verify that owners applying for the license are not disqualified. The disqualifying criteria is under LAMC section 10403A2. Please note that until live scan is available, DCR will accept attestations regarding compliance with this section. The attestation forms are also in the applicant forms and documents submenu under the licensing menu on DCR's website. In addition, the second thing is DCR must also verify that the business premises location is eligible for licensure under section 10403A3. This is where DCR reviews the location against any other sensitive uses within 700 feet of the proposed business premises location, as Ms. Packard talked about earlier. So the first step of the process is for applicants to submit the pre-application review request via DCR's online licensing portal, which is the Accela Citizen Access Portal, or just Accela ACA portal. To get to the website, please visit aca.accela.com/ADCR. If you have any feedback or comments about this process, please visit the virtual meeting room and leave a comment in the Spark comment box. Next slide, please. The Cannabis Procedures Ordinance also defines temporary approval as a DCR-issued temporary license that authorizes the applicant to engage in commercial cannabis activity for a limited period of time, as would be permitted under the privileges of a non-temporary license of the same type. An applicant with temporary approval is required to follow all applicable rules and regulations as would be required if the applicant held an annual license of the same type. In order to begin the temporary approval process, an applicant must first go through the pre-application review process and obtain a determination of eligibility from DCR. So to receive temporary approval, an applicant must, number one, successfully complete the pre-application review. 2, submit all required information via Accela. This includes documents, forms, attestation, and information in Accela. 3, you have to pay the temporary approval application fee for each commercial cannabis activity that it's being applied for. 4, you have to receive authorization to engage in the same commercial cannabis activities from the state. 5, pass the initial inspection of the business premises, and also pass an inspection conducted by the fire department cannabis unit to ensure that there are no fire or life safety inspections at the business premises. If you have specific feedback or comments about this process, please leave it in the Q&A box or in the virtual meeting room. Next slide, please. So I want to emphasize that as you go through these processes, is that in order to have a valid application before the department, the following needs to occur. If necessary, City Council must make this PCN finding that I spoke about earlier. Individual has to pay the pre-application filing fee and submit the required pre-application documents via Excella. DCR has to determine compliance with land use regulations and ownership restrictions. DCR has to determine that the application is eligible for further processing, and the temporary approval fee, filing fee, has to be paid. Next slide, please. Oh, Ms. Plummer, I'm going to give this back to you.
Thank you. So we asked a similar question before this segment of the session. Before we asked which topics did you already currently know about, but now we want to know some more background information on PCN, pre-app, and temp approval and the application process. Which topics would you like to receive more information about? So let's pull this up. So again, please indicate which of these topics you would like to receive more information about. We asked this question similarly at the beginning of this segment, but we asked specifically at the beginning, which did you already have information about? Now we want to know what do you need more information about? As Ms. Wiles mentioned, we have resources on the website, such as the workflow and those video tutorials, but it's good to know what additional information our constituents, our applicants and licensees would like to get additional information about. And so the votes are starting to come in. Again, please indicate which of the topics you would like to receive more information about. This is multiple choice, so you can choose multiple selections if you would like to. There's individual eligibility verification for the social equity program, entity level verification for the social equity program, public convenience or necessity process, pre-application review procedure, temporary approval procedure, invoicing and payment of fees, application modification process, the inspection process, and other permitting requirements from like DWB, DBS, and LAFD. And the last one is state licensing, the state licensing process. So which of these would you like to receive more information about? Again, individual eligibility or entity level verification for social equity program, public convenience or necessity process, pre-application review procedure, temporary approval procedure, invoicing of payment and payment of fees, application modification process, the inspection process, other local permitting requirements, such as from DWP, DBS, LAFD, and then the state licensing process. And so we have almost a little bit over half of people responded, and we're right at the 2-minute mark. So let's see these results. And it looks like the number one result is other local permitting requirements and inspection process are a tie. And so those are the two things that people want most information about, followed by application modification process, and then temporary approval procedure and state licensing process. Now I'll pass it back to Ms. Wiles.
Thank you, Ms. Plummer. I'm going to give you a little bit of licensing data as of today. We have 462 commercial cannabis businesses that have temporary approval to operate in the city. This is a breakdown of the license activities to date. You can see that we have 191 retail storefront temporary approvals. We have 266 non-volatile manufacturing temporary approvals, 305 distribution, 311 cultivation, 2 testing labs. And that brings us to a total of 1,075 temporary approvals that the department has issued to date. Next slide, please. This is just, this slide just shows you a comparison between the requirements for a temporary approval versus an annual license. I went through the temporary approval requirements, and just quickly for an annual license, you would need to go through the live scan. You would need a CEQA clearance. It also involves a community meeting for retail and non-retail activities that are in a business premises location 30,000 square feet or larger, which follows, which a commission meeting will also follow the community meeting. You will also need a final inspection and payment of annual application fees. And both are subject, both the temporary approval and the annual license are subject to annual renewal fees. And just want to emphasize that even though the department may issue a temporary approval and or an annual license, possession of either one of these authorizations doesn't waive or circumvent any other requirements or necessary permits from the city or other public agencies, including but not limited to permits from the Department of Building and Safety, the Fire Department, or the LA County Department of Health. Next slide, please. So DCR encourages all potential applicants and licensees, and also for those looking for a licensed cannabis business, to utilize DCR's licensing map. This map that you see on the screen shows all the retail locations that have received temporary approval to operate in the city. To access this licensing map, please visit cannabis.lacity.org and select licensing map under the licensing menu. This slide just shows additional resources. Next slide, please. Next slide, Rena. Within the DCR website, there are also other resources that you can find under resources in the licensing menu, including information procedure bulletins, video tutorials, and licensing updates. Next slide.
Thank you, Ms. Wiles. If there are specific resources that anybody would like to see created, please share that feedback with us at this time in the Q&A section. Again, we want to hear from you guys, or in the comment box in the virtual meeting room. If there are specific resources outside of those that you've either seen or you think that you would like to see, please share that with us. Now I will go into our final poll question for the evening. And this is so we know how we, again, better serve you guys. How would you prefer to receive information from DCR? Through emails, calls to and from DCR, through the website, through workshops, through Cannabis Regulation Commission meetings, through other online sources, through other organizations, through social media, through text message? What other ways, or how do you prefer to receive information from the department? So let us know, again, through emails, through calls, through the website, through workshops, through the Cannabis Regulation Commission meetings, other online sources, through other organizations, social media, text message. I will say that our Spark survey in the virtual meeting room this question is included, I believe, in both surveys, but it also asks the frequency in which you want to get communications and what you want to see. So again, leaving those comments and going to take those surveys helps us better our programming and our outreach to our community. So again, how do you prefer to receive information from the department? And so it looks like most people who are on are wrapping up. So let's wrap this up. And it looks like most people prefer to receive information via email. We are living in a digital age, especially being safe with COVID. So it's good to see that emails seem to be the most efficient way. So again, our surveys in the Spark virtual meeting room do have additional questions on frequency and how you want to receive information. So please make sure to go fill those out. I want to remind people that we do have another Spark session this Saturday. It's on community impact. We would love for you guys to join us there. Please share that around. We will have our stakeholder comment period the hour prior to this session. The stakeholder comment period will be from 9 to 10. The Spark session will be from 10 to 11. You can RSVP in the virtual meeting room. It also is shown live on our DCR website. The Spark surveys and Spark comment box that we've mentioned throughout the presentation are available via the Spark virtual meeting room. Simply visit cannabis.lacity.org. There is a Spark carousel banner that you'll see, or it's on the homepage of the cannabis.lacity.org website. Click over there, click into the virtual meeting room, and please feel free to submit your additional comments that you might have tonight that you weren't able to drop in the Q&A, or that you might think about later after looking through additional resources in the virtual meeting room. Staying connected to Spark, there are many ways. We have the virtual meeting room, our website, we have our DCR listserv and email blast. Simply go to cannabis.lacity.org. Under About, there is sign up for our email blast there. We have our Spark comment box in the virtual meeting room, our Spark surveys. We have Spark sessions. Again, the next one is this Saturday coming up. It's on community impact. So we look forward to hearing from all of you then as well. And then we have just created the Spark email list. It is on the Spark landing page in the website. You can sign up for that and get continuous Spark updates. So I look forward to speaking to all of you then. I will now pass the presentation over to Director Packer.
Thank you, Ms. Plummer. I want to thank MBI members of my team for joining and members of the public for participating and continuing to provide feedback as a part of the stakeholder comment period and throughout this presentation and the Q&A. I think that through the feedback that we're receiving, we're going to be able to make comprehensive policy recommendations to City Council and the Mayor, but also look internally at our own respective processes and different programming that we have coming down the pipeline to determine what's going to be best for the community that we serve. I want to also thank our Commission President and Vice President for joining today's session so that they can hear directly from stakeholders as well. I did want to note before I pass it over to President On and Vice President Mason for any closing remarks, that as we have the second version of these individual sessions, as Ms. Plummer articulated previously, we will be using the Zoom breakout rooms to have more direct engagement with stakeholders through some facilitated discussions. And so I can see in the Q&A and some of the stakeholder comment that that's the type of engagement that folks are looking for. So we're going to try and provide at least a part of this program, that forum. But again, if there are recommendations that continue to come through Spark that let us know folks want to see regular engagement from the department through specific means, we can use Spark to create that type of engagement. But again, I want to thank everyone for their participation, for staying with us a little bit over, and I want to pass things to our Commission President, President On. Thank you.
Thank you, Director Packer. I want to just thank, again, all the staff for all your efforts tonight, putting this together. I want to thank members of the public and the stakeholders that took time out of their evening to join and participate in this very important initiative. We're very excited and very hopeful that through this initiative, we'll be able to get a lot more feedback in a very meaningful way, in ways that maybe we can't cover during a commission hearing. So really need your input. This is how we're going to shape the future of cannabis policy here in Los Angeles, but we certainly cannot do it without your input. So please continue to participate in these Spark sessions. We have additional scheduled coming down the pipeline. We've got surveys, comment boxes. All of these will provide us with direct input from each and every one of you. And again, we need your assistance and recommendations moving forward. Each of the commissioners, our views are our own views. We have impartial views that are guided by the community at large. And Spark is going to be an excellent way for us to engage with all of you. And again, we want to be your voice on this commission. And so please, I want to encourage each and every one of you to continue your participation in a very active and engaging way. Vice President Mason.
Thank you all for spending time with us this evening. The Cannabis Regulation Commission is looking forward to engaging with you. We really are, through commission meetings and through this Spark initiative. I've asked each of the commissioners to attend the remaining Spark sessions so that we can better understand the needs of our stakeholders in the community, to be able to just further lean into this work of better serving each of you.
Thank you so much, Vice President Mason. And again, I want to thank everyone for their time. I hope that folks are able to join us at our next Spark session. But as mentioned, our virtual meeting room is open 24/7. And so we encourage folks to continue to share information and feedback with us through the Spark comment box. And I look forward to seeing everyone at the next Spark session. Everyone have a great evening.